Welcome to the Defeat the Drama podcast, where you'll learn tips, tricks, and strategies to help you gain clarity, find purpose, live boldly, and defeat the drama in leadership and life. Host Kirsten E. Ross is known to many as the drama-free queen. She is the undisputed expert of transformation. She'll move you from resigned, resentful, and overwhelmed to focused, engaged, and empowered.
Welcome to the Defeat the Drama podcast. I'm Kirsten Rush, your host, and this is episode number 46. Drama zaps energy, steals focus, and is the arch enemy of success. So are you ready to defeat some drama? Today's a Defeat Your Drama Day. I heard from Elizabeth. She's from the United States. I'm not sure what state. And she sent me her drama challenge. If you would like me to provide customized solutions for your drama challenge, go to my website at defeatthedrama.com, click on the podcast site, and then submit your question. You can either record your current drama situation or shoot me a message. I'll use it on a future episode and provide you those customized solutions. All right, so let's get on to Elizabeth's question. She says, can you offer advice for dealing with a boss who likes to complain about people in other departments? We often meet with people in another department for joint projects and updates. And after each meeting, my boss likes to deconstruct what various people said, point out their mistakes, and generally complain about having to work with them. To be honest, my boss is often correct. I mean, no one's perfect. But hearing her berate these people time after time is a big downer. Plus, I actually enjoy working with some of these people. I feel trapped, like if I don't join her or if I try to defend them, she'll think I'm not a team player. But then when I do nothing or agree, I feel two-faced. It's one thing when a coworker demonstrates this behavior, but it's another when it's your supervisor. Help! Okay, Elizabeth, I'm so sorry about your struggle, so let's get you some customized solutions. As always, in the Defeat Your Drama segments, I will provide solutions based on the information provided. I will obviously not have full details, so we'll provide customized strategies based on what you share. Always consider your own specific circumstances before taking any action. These are suggestions, not guarantees. All right, Elizabeth, I would absolutely agree. It's always a tougher situation when it's a boss or some other higher level employee. There are still some strategies that you can try, though. So I hope for your sake that the negativity and lack of teamwork exhibited by your boss is not a reflection of the culture of the organization, because that's an even tougher spot to be in. I've worked inside of, luckily I get to flit in and flit out, but I've worked inside of very negative cultures, and those are really, really tough to maintain some good positive energy. So I'm going to assume that your boss creates this negativity just on her own, and I'm hoping that the rest of the culture, the rest of the employees there are generally pretty positive. All right, so here are your customized solutions. So number one, I'm going to ask you to do a reality check. So I always instruct my clients to reality check their beliefs. Our beliefs are not facts. It's our perceptions. So you say that you feel concerned that if you don't join in, your boss will feel like you're not a team player. Has your boss given you reason to feel this way? In other words, is this a personal worry or an assumption that has you feeling obligated to participate? Or is there evidence in anything that she's said or done in the past that indicates that she would, in fact, decide that you're not a team player if you don't join in on her complaint bandwagon? So is this just a worry that you have, or is it really fact-based? So I don't know what the answer is, so I'm truly asking to just get you thinking. We often make decisions based on false beliefs or assumptions, and the goal is always to base decisions and actions on fact wherever possible. So I want you to kind of get in the world of fact, and I want you to get really clear about which it is for you. Is this a worry, or has she really done something in the past that's created this fear in you? So it's based on fact. So if it's just a guilt feeling and not a fact, then you have a bit more leeway with your response. If, however, there's evidence to support that she might think negatively of your job performance if you speak up, that will minimize your available responses. So in the absence of fact and for purposes of providing you some customized solutions, I'm going to assume that she has not done anything overt to demonstrate that you would be seen in a negative light by failing to participate in her complaints. Okay, so I'm going to work from that assumption. I really hope that that's true, that you don't have a leader who would be punitive towards someone who's just trying to be positive at work. So that's the first thing. Do some reality checking because that's going to kind of drive the response, the recommended response. Number 2 strategy is evaluate her openness to receiving feedback from you. So I'm going to have you look at 3 different variables that will determine the level of response I would recommend. I'm providing 3 different levels of response in a little minute here, and then each will have a more overt communication about your desires to be positive about your coworkers. I think you should base your response on these 3 variables. 1, your relationship with your boss and how open and honest you've been in the past. So would this be the first time you're providing feedback to her, or do you have a really good relationship where you've really, both shared openly over time? Hey, I could really see this working better for you, or I have a suggestion. So what's been your relationship in the past? All right, the second thing is her willingness to receive constructive feedback or engage in self-awareness. So is she someone who desires to hear what people think of her? Does she like to hear others' perspectives? Or is she a little more defensive and uses some stay stuck strategies to try to feel like I am perfect exactly as I am and I don't want to hear any contrary evidence? Then the third variable would be her perceived level of desire to respond to constructive feedback with new and improved actions. So is she a person who's into personal growth and development and wants to be the best leader ever? So, would she welcome the feedback? Or again, is she a little defensive, closed off, exhibits stay stuck strategies where she doesn't really want to hear any contrary evidence and isn't really that interested, is more interested in kind of controlling the situation so she can feel like she's doing a great job and doesn't really want to engage in any personal growth. So those are the 3 variables I would have you consider as you design the response that you're actually going to have with her. So if the relationship's been open and honest for years and she's been open to receiving feedback in the past and is always all about growth and being better, then you could probably go right to option 3 that I'm going to outline in a minute. If, however, she tends to react defensively to feedback or contrary perspectives, then you'll probably want to stick to the more subtle approach of option 1 that I'm going to outline. And in all instances, of course, I'm going to recommend that the conversation happen privately and at a time that's good for both of you. Again, especially if you go for the more over option 3 that I'm going to describe, you definitely want to be behind closed doors and maybe even kind of say, hey, I wanted to discuss some things with you. Can we schedule a time to meet? Number 1, if you end up doing that one, you could just do that after the meeting and kind of have a little casual discussion. All right, number 3, play it like a game. So the goal is really to react without emotion. You don't want to lead with frustration. So it probably is frustrating because I don't know how long this has been going on. You don't really indicate, has it been 2 years? Have you had 3 meetings, in just a couple of months? But you might have built up some frustration about, man, I just want to be done with this. I want everyone to get along and I just want to work in a positive environment. But regardless of how frustrated you're feeling or how much is built up, play it like a game. So I often recommend this playing like a game. So you just decide that you want to see what you can make happen. So that's kind of the place that you want to come from. So regardless of the level of response you choose, I recommend you come from a place of, I'm just lobbing this out there. If you're too attached to achieving a specific outcome after just one conversation, you'll probably bring some extra emotional oomph, I call it, to the conversation. That extra emotional oomph can make someone else defensive. So you really, again, just play it like a game, see what you can make happen, lob it out there. Because when you bring that oomph, the person you're speaking with feels more pressure and is thus more likely to get defensive. And you want to do everything that you can to minimize her feeling of defensiveness so she remains open to hearing you. Number 4, choose your response. All right, so here are the 3 responses that I created. So again, each one is going to be more and more overt, like upfront. So the first one, level 1, you're just going to model the behavior that you'd like to see her exhibit. So you're not going to bust out with anything. You're just going to simply model it. So as you're leaving the meeting or once you get back to the office and she's starting to speak negatively about the other people or departments, you could just have some phrases and examples ready. If she's being negative, you could say, you know what I really appreciate about the team in Department X? Or I loved that so-and-so communicated this. I feel like it really moved the process forward. You can also acknowledge any valid challenges that she brings up and then describe them back to her in a way that asserts that they are challenges, not barriers, or that maybe they're not really frustrations, they're just little bumps in the road that you have to work through. So emphasize that these challenges often arise in a newly forming committee or work group, so are just a part of the process. Again, I don't know if it's a new work group or not, but I'm going to assume maybe you haven't been meeting all that long. Or maybe it's just kind of ad hoc stuff where you just periodically work on a project together. So share your feeling that as everyone moves forward with the common goals in mind, that those challenges should fall away. Or offer suggestions for how to work through or around the challenges. Identify ways that you can assist in helping the teams work well together. Okay, so like I said, in this first one that I'm recommending, if this is the one you choose, you're just role modeling over time, being positive. So you could even quickly acknowledge, oh, that can be frustrating when that happens, when so-and-so does such and such, to validate what she said or just that you heard her. You don't have to agree. I hear that you're frustrated with so-and-so, or I understand how frustrating that can be, da-da-da-da-da. And then, but man, what I really appreciate about her is da-da-da. And so you're going to have some positive things to say. So you can validate the challenges, but then have some positive things to say. Okay? So for that one, you're just role modeling what you hope that she starts doing. Now, if you feel more comfortable being a little more overt, you might want to move to level 2, which is model a positive focus and also state your own strategy. So utilize the strategy that I just outlined, but in addition, you're going to share your goal of staying positive at work or of focusing on the positive in your work interactions. So you're just sharing your own personal philosophies. So you're not making any recommendations for her. You're just sharing how you think. And then the same strategy, you're playing it like a game. You're just seeing what you can make happen. And you're just lobbing it out there and seeing where the conversation goes. So, she complains. You say, yeah, that can be a little frustrating, I suppose. But here's what I really appreciate. I've really created the philosophy for myself that I'm going to continue to be positive even when there's some bumps in the road. Something like that. Obviously put it in your own words, but you get the gist. All right, now the level 3 response is provide constructive feedback and a recommendation. So you're going to have an actual assertive conversation and use the following model. Take her aside as a friend and confidant. So you're probably going to schedule this ahead and give her a heads up that you want to talk to her about some things. Ask her permission to share some ideas from your perspective. When I coach leaders, I often suggest that they just try the new perspective on for size. So it's a smaller request than listen to me and adopt all of my ideas now. A lot of times people aren't ready for that. So by asking them to just try it on for size or think about it or consider it, you're just asking them to put some thought to it. You're not saying make a decision right now, decide that you want to make a change right now. You're just saying, you know what? Try it on for size. So you're going to use the above situations, like here's how I like to think or whatever. And then you're going to just say, I recommend actually, maybe even using the tried and true communication formula of when you fill in the blank, I feel fill in the blank, can you please fill in the blank. And again, all this stuff is in the show notes. If you go to defeatthedrama.com, the podcast site, and then find episode number 46, all of this will be in there. But so, when you speak negatively about my coworkers, I feel a little bad because I know we're all trying, or I feel frustrated because, it is a challenging project and I think we're all working really hard. I'm going to ask, is there any way that we can just focus on the positive? It really helps me feel better about my job. So just kind of share your feelings. So again, but you're just asking her to try on for size a different perspective. So you're just asking her, think about it, and then reach your own conclusions. And then just share how it feels when she badmouths the other departments. And you'll pull, like I said, you're going to pull elements from the other strategies above, but share your own personal philosophies and some of the positive things that you see within the teams, and then just describe what she might want to consider. Like, do you think it's possible that maybe they do have good intentions? Maybe they are trying to do a good job, and maybe some of our processes are falling apart. Number 5, view it as a journey. So if her reaction to your initial conversation is not what you'd like, avoid frustration. The first conversation isn't the end point. We put so much pressure on ourselves and so much emphasis on a conversation that we plan for, that we're hoping for this like one specific outcome, that if it doesn't go exactly that way, we just think, oh, great, this is how it's going to be forever. I'm bummed. I'm always going to hate my job. And really what you're doing is you're entering into a journey. You've embarked on a journey. You can continue to hold on to your vision of a more positive boss and plan to further the conversation over time. So commit to modeling your positive perspective. She might be one of those people who changes slowly over time. Maybe you won't see it right away, but maybe she'll be making tiny, tiny little adjustments. Or maybe she has to hear a different perspective multiple times or see it role modeled many times. So just keep telling yourself, let's see what the next interaction brings. Remember, it's fun. You're playing a game. You're seeing what you can make happen. So throughout this whole thing, the whole goal is to maintain your good relationship. It is your boss, after all. So you do want a good relationship. And you're trying to minimize your own frustration and leave her room and freedom to respond or not to your perspective, which will actually make you potentially have a higher level of success. Because again, when we push too hard, that's when people's defenses come up, and now you have to go through their wall of defensiveness. So if you can just lab it out there, play it like a game, communicate, but be a little playful with it. I'm not saying make a joke of it, but just don't have all the emotional oomph to allow her the freedom. And then view it as a journey that you've embarked on. You can just keep kind of modeling it and reinforcing it and do it from a happy place where your assumption is that over time we're going to get there. So I really hope this helps, Elizabeth, and others. I'm sure others of you who are listening have been in the same boat or currently are. So let me know how it goes. I always love to hear good news. My goal is always to defeat drama one organization at a time. Thanks for listening. If you need the show notes, like I said, head to defeatthedrama.com and click on the podcast site. I also have some free webinars if you go to defeatthedrama.com and click on the webinar site. Thanks again for joining, and until next time, make it a great day.